So we were talking about the types of proportions. This is the very first type of proportion, directly proportion. Normally, we call it directly proportion. If and the directly proportion says if first quantity is increasing, the second quantity is also increasing with the same rate. And if the first quantity is going to be decreased, then the second quantity will also be decreased with the same rate. For example, if Ali gets 40 pound an hour, how much will he earn after working 6 hours? So, first of all, you need to understand what is he asking. I mean, what do you wanna find? If you wanna find the how much will he earn? That means his earning is required. So first of all, you have to make a relation. Earning earning that is required should be on the left side, and all other things should be on the right side. Here you have only one thing on the right side, that is the uh, earning in pound. Okay, earning in pound, and the other thing there is hours. Hours. You can also write time. Okay, how much earning does it have in 1 hour? In 1 hour, he is having 40 pound. 40 pound an hour. He is earning 40 pound an hour. How much will he earn in 6 hours? For 6 hours, how much will he earn? That is the question mark. So, uh, the thing that is required in this case is, first of all, you need to understand what is the relation of these attributes, earning and hours, regardless of these numbers. Suppose there is no number. So what is the relation between earning and hours? That is the point. So for that you need to understand what is the relation. What is the relation? You need to find out the relation. So the relation is, if he will work more hours, his earning would be more, and if he works less hours, his earning would be less. So the relation between earning and hours is directly, there is x, and the hours are 6. How much will he earn in 6 hours? So there will be 6. Now, always remember, every time it should be started with the bottom. So that would be x over 40, and or x should be on the top at the numerator, and 40 has to be in the denominator, and likewise 6 has to be in the top and 1 has to be in the bottom. So x would be equal to 40 times 6, and it would be 240. That's the answer. So he would be earning 240 pounds for 6 hours. That's the answer of this directly related question. I mean, directly proportional question. Now the second type, this is the very first type. The second type says, what would you have if you have inverse relation? In the second type you will have inverse relation. This was the first type. Okay, let's talk about second type now. Inverse relation, just like this. Okay, an army camp has enough food for 5 days for 8 men. All right. If two more soldiers join the camp, for how many days will the ration last? Will the food last? That's the question. For example, if there is a camp and there are 8 soldiers, and by somehow two more soldiers join the camp, then for how many days will the ration last? That's the question. So to meet that trouble, You need to calculate. All right, what do you want to find? First of all, you need to understand what you want to find. You have to find out how many days. So it has to be at the first place. Days, days has to be in the first place, and number of men. So men should be on the second. All right, and inverse proportional says, for example, if there are few men, then the food would last for more days. Okay, if men are fewer, then the food will last for more days, and if men are more, then few food will last for less days. So the relationship between them is inverse. That is a inverse relationship. Okay, number of days are 5, and number of men are 8. All right, if two more men join the camp, let me write properly there. All right, 5 days and 8 men are there. Okay, if two more men join the camp, that means there are 10 men. And how many? For how many days will it last? We don't know. That is the X. Now, if days are more, I mean, if men are more, then days will be less, and if men are less, then days will be more. Number of days that the ration or food lasts. That is the having the inverse relationship that I told you earlier. So in this case, the x is at the bottom, it would be at the top, and 5 would be at the bottom, x over 5. And in this case, 8 is at the bottom, I mean, at the bottom of the arrow, that should be in the first place in the numerator, and the arrowhead is gonna be towards 10. So 5 would be multiplied on the other side, and it would be x equal to 8 over 10 times 5, and 8 5 times is 40, 40 over 10, so it would be 4. So that means ration will last, the food will last only for 4 days if two more men join the camp. This is called the inverse relationship. Now, finally, we have to deal with sometimes people call it complicated, but that is very easy if you make the sense of it. This is called the compound proportion. Uh, Let me read the question for you. A contractor is making a building with 20 laborers who work 6 hours a day to complete it in 9 days. After 6 days, only 50%, or you can also change it to only, you can change the percentage as well. If you change it to uh, 40% or some other percent. Okay, if only 40% construction work gets completed, how many more men will be called so that the construction may be completed within the stipulated time after working 8 hours, 8 hours a day? So the laborers will work 8 hours a day now. They will work 8 hours in one day, but they have only, because they have only 3 days left, so more men will also be called. How many more men will be called? We don't know. Get that to get that, we need to find out what is required in this case. Can you see clearly how many more men, how many more men will be called? So men will be taken at the extreme left. Men would be taken at the extreme left. Okay, and that would be proportion sign, because you have more than two ratios there. That is why it is called a compound proportion. You can see the name, compound proportion. There would be direct proportion as well as inverse proportion. Let me see how is it. All right, a contractor is making a building with 20 laborers. Okay, 20 laborers are there who work 6 hours a day. So number of hours would be written there. Hours. All right. How many in 9 days? The work has to be completed in 9 days. Who work to complete it in 9 days. So the total number of days should be 9. All right, after 6 days. So that means these 20 laborers worked for 6 days and only 40% construction work got completed. Okay, work completion, or you can also write work. You would write percentage, you can change the percentage into decimal as well. Okay, now how much more men will be called so that the construction may be completed within stipulated time after working 8 hours a day? 8 hours a day. It should be 8 hours a day. That is a complete statement. Okay, now we meet with the statement to get the number of men. All right, all right, all right. There is no problem. Uh, the number of men would be 20 at the first at the start. Number of men would be 20. Number of hours that they are working is 6. They are working 6 hours a day, and after 6 days, so that means they worked for 6 days, and only 40% construction work got completed. So that would be 0.4. 0.4 is also another notation of 40%. Okay, that means 60% still needs to be done. So there would be 60% or 0.6. All right. How many more men will be called so that the construction may be completed within the stipulated time? Or if you get confused with it, you can also change it to 40% and 60%. There is no hard and fast rule to do with the same thing that I did. You can also change it accordingly. So you can also do it. There is no problem. 40% and 60% needs to be completed with how many number of men we don't know. uh, so how many hours are there? Yes, we have 8 hours. They are working 8 hours a day. If you have a look over there, they are working 8 hours a day. How many days are now? The question is, the days are not mentioned over there. But if you read the statement carefully, a contractor is making a building with 20 laborers who work 6 hours a day to complete it in 9 days. So the building has to be completed in 9 days. Okay, and the laborers worked for 6 days to complete only 40%. So that means 3 days are required to complete. Only 3 days are left. So all the 60% has to be completed within 3 days. Within 3 days. All right. How will you make the relation? That is very important. First arrow will be always upward. Okay. Because x has to be at the top in the numerator. Okay, if more men are there, then less number of hours would be required to complete the task. Like I can give you an example. If two men are working on a task, they will have more time to complete. But if 20 men are there to complete the task, they will have much less time to complete. And if 200 men are there, oh my god, a lot of time will be saved in it. So less number of hours will be required if number of men will be more. And if number of men, same way, if number of men are more, then every time you will have to make the relation of the men and hour, and then days and hour, and then work and I mean days and men. First of all, men and hour, like, okay, I tell you, men and hour, then men and days, and then men and work. So every time you have to make the relation with the extreme left attribute, that needs to be found out. So men and hours are done. What will you do with men and days? If men are more, number of days would be less to complete, less number of days will be required. If instead of 20, if there are 2000 people, 2000 men who are working on that building, very few days will be required. So more men and less days, more men and less number of hours. Now we get to the amount of work. If more men are there, more amount of work will be completed. Okay, this is the difficult thing that the teachers and students get confused with. So there is no problem. There is no point to confuse with. You can ask me question if you have any. All right. Now we will start working. So x, that would be x over 20, because I told you every time the base, the bottom of the arrow needs to be at the top. This bottom of the arrow, that means 6 needs to be at the top and 8 would be in the denominator. And same way, 6 would be in the numerator and 3 would be in the denominator. And going the same way, 60, so 60%, that would be in the numerator and 40% would be in the denominator. Percentage will be cancelled with percentage, because percentage, whenever percentage is there, that means it is out of 100. So 60 out of 100 and 40 out of 100, so that would be 60 over 40. All right, 0 will be cancelled with this 0, and you can calculate x would be equal to 6 times 6 times 6, that is 216, and 8 times 3 times 4, 8 is a 12, 24, and 24 4 times is 96 times 20, so it would be 4000, 4320 over 96. And if you calculate it, that would be 96 4 times 96 sorry 96 4 times, and then it would be 5 times. So you got x equal to 45. That means 45 total men will be required to complete the task. 20 men are already there. So you will say 25, 25 more men will be called, okay, will be will be called to complete the task, okay, to accomplish the task. That's all. That was today's topic about ratio and proportion. Ratio was a very simple thing, but the proportion, there were three kinds of proportions: simple or direct proportion, inverse or the converse proportion. Sometimes we call it converse proportion, conversely proportional. That means if one thing is increasing, one commodity is increasing, one object is increasing, the other quantity, the other object, the other value will be decreased accordingly with the same rate. And if you have a compound proportion, that is the most difficult one. If according to the student level, you know, if you understand this bit, then you can understand all of them. I mean, direct and inverse would be no difficult with it if you understand this much. So this is all. I hope you would understand and you would enjoy the topic that I taught you. Keep enjoying, keep visiting my YouTube channel. If you will feel any kind of difficulty, you can ask me. Feel free to contact me. You can also contact me on my WhatsApp number. That is, I again write it for you. That is. For Pakistani students, you can contact me on this number. You can contact me on zero plus 92 plus 92 300 644 1761, and also for foreigners also can contact me with the country code of 92346 6211 498. My name is Iftikhar Ahmed in service of you. Thanks a lot. Keep enjoying my channel and the mathematics as well. May Allah bless you. Allah Hafiz.